The nation woke up on January 7th, 2021. Most people felt like they knew what happened, what we saw, and we heard a focus on that day. Republicans cast it as a riot that day that got out of control. Top Democrats impeached Trump for inciting an insurrection that day. But while it can be easy to forget, there was actually a shared premise there, that it was all about the events of that day. Indeed, I've mentioned on this program before that the Democrats who fought to have a January 6th committee do the investigation wrote down what the goals were. And initially, it was about getting to the bottom of what happened that single day. Now, if you've watched coverage on this program, you may recall that we actually followed the evidence and pushed well beyond what was that initial shared premise. We said at the time those views were based on the facts, which you have to follow over time, turning out to suggest that that was too narrow a view, that even I told you the impeachment was, at the time, while understandably focused on what the president said at the rally, it was too narrow. That as a matter of fact and law, there were actually, here they are, we counted 8 plots to overturn the election. What you're looking at is from a report that we first aired over 10 months ago, which tracks them across time. You can see lawsuits and electors and getting the states to overturn votes. That's on the far left, some of the first things they were trying. And you are allowed, of course, to file lawsuits. And then as time went on, they turned to more desperate, extreme, and criminal measures. We noted that most of these actions over time ended up with things that were at least unconstitutional or possibly criminally indictable. Now, I expanded on that thesis, I should mention, in a written introduction to the January 6th report for HarperCollins. Now, all of this I'm saying to you tonight, as we can catch up, it's one of the most interesting parts of keeping your eyes open and staying alive, right, is getting the information that in the past you might have said, what if, and will we ever know? And tonight we do. This is about facts, not emotion. The facts I'm sharing with you were gleaned from reporting, from government probes, and now we can say tonight, for the first time, from additional facts and evidence that we can report on based on the new charges against Trump for those plots. So now, as we live through this together, let's update that chart with these new developments, because while Jack Smith does not accuse Trump of sedition or insurrection, he does indict Trump and cites the co-conspirators' actions for plots that we count here for the first time tonight, nail 5 of those original plots. The fraudulent electors, you see that, indicted. The plot to get the state legislators or other officials to steal their own citizens' votes, indicted. The Pence plot there, that he would somehow help overturn the votes, indicted. That's why it's so strongly featured in this set of charges that I've been reporting on for you tonight. And then, of course, finally, sabotaging January 6th is criminal evidence in this indictment. What you see here is brand new, and it is how we've been tracking these plots and how now these 5 of them are indicted. When you look at the electors, a Trump aide who was intimately involved, Boris Epshteyn, told us about it right here on The Beat.
That was part of the process to make sure there were alternate electors for when, as we hoped, the challenges to the seated electors would be heard and would be successful per the 12th Amendment of the Constitution and the Electoral Count Act. Everything that was done illegally by the Trump legal team, according to the rules and under the leadership of Rudy Giuliani.
Under questioning, we got that admission and the reference to now one of the unindicted co-conspirators, Giuliani. The indictment says they ultimately used the certificates of the fraudulent electors to deceitfully target the government function. Then we go out to the states, where the indictment says that Trump lied to the Georgia Secretary of State to get him to try to alter Georgia's vote and question the validity of the Biden vote. It also says Trump and co-conspirator 1 were calling the Speaker of the Arizona House, lying about false claims of election fraud aimed at interfering with Arizona's electors. If you follow this legal coverage, you've become accustomed to those references. They're sometimes general. They don't state the name when they don't have to in indictments, but everyone knows the House Speaker is Rusty Bowers. We asked him about all of this earlier this year. According to your testimony, the evidence in the report, as late as January 4th, was still calling you, urging you to, quote, hold a vote to decertify Arizona's presidential electors.
We just said, John, has there ever been anybody tried to do this? And he said, no. And I said, then you want me to put my state through this? And he said, just do it and let the courts figure it out.
That's one more person who declined to join the plot, and you can see today why. Now, as for the vice president, I've mentioned before earlier in the show, he didn't want to be the unindicted or indicted co-conspirator number 7. The new indictment says that there was an effort to enlist Pence to use his ceremonial role to fraudulently alter the election results. That is legal language for steal the thing. Now, that didn't just come out of nowhere. There were a small number of hardcore people. I've called them members of Team Coup. Tonight they are, several of them in unindicted coup conspiracy land, and there are others who may yet get into more trouble. This is the beginning, not the end of the process. We questioned one of them, Trump aide Peter Navarro. He was later subpoenaed by Congress and later indicted.
The remedy was for Vice President Pence, as the quarterback in the Green Bay sweep, to remand those votes back to the 6 battleground states.
Do you realize you are describing a coup?
No.
Now, the indictment reveals new details about the efforts to interfere over at the DOJ, which was one of those arrows, a plot to try to get his own political hacks or allies in those jobs only to overthrow the election. You have Jeffrey Clark, allegedly was lined up by Trump to take over the whole department. That Clark basically accepted, but it didn't come to fruition. And then Trump relented when he was told that basically it would lead to mass resignations, that it wouldn't work. The final plot, with alleged new details in this damning indictment, is, of course, sabotaging January 6th itself. And while there's no sedition charge, this is a key part of the criminal evidence that Trump pushed on, using the violence to try to get the delay, and then eventually he wanted the delay to keep him in office well into the night on January 6th. Trump co-conspirator 1, who we've identified as Giuliani, attempting to exploit the violence based on knowingly false claims of election fraud to delay the certification. And this is where the arrows analysis that I'm sharing with you now overlaps with some of that reporting earlier in the hour, that Trump attorney John Eastman was still emailing and lobbying to advocate that Pence violate the law. That is how Jack Smith puts it, violate the law and seek further delay of the certification. This is what adds up to the multi-pronged, months-long plan to steal an election. On the very upper left, in all fairness, lawsuits are allowed, and you'll notice there's no indictment on them. But many of these other plots, some which began as early as November, some which Steve Bannon, Navarro, and Trump were clearly musing about before they even had the results of the election. That's a sign you don't care whether you won or not, that you're going to steal it if you lose regardless, because you're planning this before you even get the results. And then the other stuff that came late and desperate, Pence, DOJ interference, and, of course, sabotaging January 6th. 5 of these plots, I can report for you now, stand as indicted alleged crimes.